Okay, first thing to point out this video, I'm not bald, my hair pops in there, and Tommy looks nothing like his avatar. I just want to point that out before we start. So this is the rematch, Flareon against Garbador. I put the first match up. I would recommend you go back and watch that one before this. I'm about to spoil what happened. Okay, so in the previous match, I got Tommy into a Mewtwo war nice and quickly. He couldn't get the Garbador out because he was trying to keep up with the Mewtwo war, and my Flareon and Cofagrigus completely overran him. Flareon's got the Vengeance attack, which for DCE does 20 plus 10 for every Pokemon in the discard pile. Cofagrigus has an ability which allows you to kill it. Opponent gets a prize card, and you put 3 damage on their field. But what that does for us is it gets 2 Pokemon in the discard. We're also running Ditto, which if you transform Ditto into a Yamask, evolve into Cofagrigus, then that means you're getting 3 Pokemon in the discard, and you're putting 3 damage on their field. We've also got Aldino that you can discard from the hand to get rid of 10 damage and 1 special condition. And we've got Mewtwo there as a kind of backup attacker. So I start off, and my opening hand is garbage, so I've just ends there. But I've still got nothing. I don't want to put a DCE or an energy on Flareon, really, because I fear the catcher DCE combo. So it's kind of worrying. So I'm just going to end my turn, because if I put an energy on Flareon, he's got 60 HP. Mewtwo with a DCE and a catcher is going to be able to take him out. He's the only Eevee I've got out. If I don't put the energy on him there, it's less likely Tommy's going to be able to knock me out. So it's less likely he's going to go for the knockout. And I really want my Flareon going next turn. The aim of my deck, very simply, is to discard as many Pokemon as I possibly can, as quickly as I possibly can, and then be hitting for, hopefully, a fairly large amount of damage. If I can get 15 Pokemon in the discard, I'm going to be one-hitting his Mewtwo. And I play 26 Pokemon here. And that's including, my Cofagrigus, which can kill themselves, my Aldino, which I can discard from the hand, and I'm playing 4 Juniper, and I'm playing 4 Ultra Ball. Now, in the previous game, Tommy didn't get Garbador down. He's not going to make that mistake again. Tommy plays the Laser. He puts a Float Stone onto his Trubbish, and he plays a Juniper. If he hits Laser DCE here, Tommy's got the turn 1 KO, and that's bad for me. Really, I want that Yamask to survive. Oh, he hits the Virbank there. I meant Virbank DCE, but he's got the Virbank DCE, and he's got the KO. Now, ideally here, and he doesn't get the kill, so I win. What is annoying, though, is I've now got a choice between Colress for free or Juniper. Now, Colress for free isn't good, because my deck needs cards to set up. I need to be getting the Flareons and the Cofagrigases, etc. I'm not going to be getting Pokemon into the discard if I'm drawing free cards. But the biggest problem here, of course, is that I've just discarded a DCE. Now, because Tommy's playing Garbador, I've actually, for this particular game, I wanted to see what happened if I cut my 2 recycles for Tool Scrappers. And I already regret getting rid of the recycles, because I know I've now got 3 DCE for the game, and that's not a good position to be in. I run, I think, 4 basic fire energy, but that's going to take 2 turns to get going. Now, generally what would happen is you'd put 1 down on turn 1, and then a second down on turn 2. So on the second turn, you start attacking with your second attachment, and then you've still got the 4 DCEs going. Here I am on turn 2 with 2 DCEs down, no basic energy on the field, and what I'm basically trying to say here is that my energy attachments have gone a little bit wrong. I could have put down that fire turn 1, but I feared my Eevee getting KO'd, which is why I didn't. But it's really put me on the back foot now. So, I've got my Cofagrigus out. I can use 6 feet under to do 30 to Mewtwo, and that's going to give me 4 Pokemon in my discard pile, and it means I can pop my Flareon active. So Flareon will be hitting for 60, with the 30 from Cofagrigus means his Mewtwo's on 90, with just 80 HP left. That's pretty good. If I can discard 2 more Pokemon, then that Flareon or another Flareon can kill that Mewtwo later. But he's got a Mewtwo active, he's got a Virbank, so if he can hit DCE and Laser, that Flareon is going down. Now you can see here already, I'm assuming that Skylar's going to be either for a computer search for the DCE or for a Laser. What's he going to get? Oh, it's a computer search. So he's got the Laser in hand, he's going for the DCE. We know he's got the Laser in hand because he's not going to risk putting a DCE on his Mewtwo to hit me for 80, knowing that if I can discard 2 more Pokemon, his Mewtwo goes down next turn. It's not worth it for him, it's a waste of a DCE. So, he's going to use that computer search for the DCE, because otherwise why would he go for the computer search? And that means he's got a laser and my Flareon is going down. Tommy's a very good player, he's not one to misplay like that. He doesn't want to half-kill my Flareon and then give up one of his 4 DCEs in his deck. So, I've got 1 Ditto down, I've got 1 Eevee, I've got no Yamask down, and I'm just about to lose my Flareon and go 2 prizes down. It's not a good start for me at all. This deck, if it gets going quickly, is amazing. But firstly, he's had a much better start than me. And secondly, he's going to lock my abilities at some point. Now, I do hit another DCE, but now I'm kind of wishing I'd put the Eevee active, because if I get the Flareon, since I just put those 2 Pokemon in the discard pile when they got knocked out, that Flareon would be able to kill the Mewtwo. As it happens, it's a moot point, because I don't draw an Ultra Ball and I don't draw a Flareon, and I've actually escaped quite nicely, because if I had put the Eevee active, he would have been killed by the Mewtwo straight away. So I've lucked in just a little bit. So I'm going to use a Ditto to transform. I figure if I'm going to lose a Pokemon next turn, I might as well get 2 in the discard rather than 1 to help start powering up my Flareon there. It's not a perfect plan, but, you know, I figure he's going to get the KO this turn because all he needs is a laser, so it doesn't really matter. So, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm going to lose something anyway. I might as well get 2 Pokemon in the discard rather than 1. So I have a look, I've got a decent amount of Pokemon in there. I believe I'd be hitting for 80 now, which is fine. But I need to stall him a little bit. I want to try and slow him down. So what I'm going to do is capture his Trubbish and use a Tool Scrapper to get rid of the Float Stone. Now, this is a completely valid play that I'm making here. It's not a bad play, because if he can't retreat that Trubbish, it means that next turn, I can hopefully get a Cofagrigus out, get 30 damage on his field, and then my Flareon's going to be taking away his only Garbador out. Now, I do play Life Dew in this deck, so at some point, I'm going to be able to pop a Life Dew down, so he's not going to be getting quite as far ahead in prizes as you might think. Now, it seems weird playing a deck that gives your opponent free prizes, but if you go back and watch the first game, if you haven't already, you will see that it really doesn't matter. You know, I mean, there was one turn where I gave up 2 prizes. It would have been free if it wasn't for Life Dew, but I managed to use that to knock out one of his Mewtwo and set his other Mewtwo up for the KO the following turn. And that's really what won me the game. Wouldn't have won the game without those Cofagrigus. So it's weird giving away prizes, but it works out. However, this plan here is all going to go wrong. He's got the Garbodor out. It's going to go wrong if he can hit a Float Stone. Because then I've used a Tool Scrapper for no good reason, and he hits the Float Stone. Now this is really annoying, because ideally what I want to do, seeing as I'm so reliant on powers, what I'm going to really want to do, and he hits the laser there, so that Yamask is going down this turn. What I really want to do is save those Tool Scrappers so that I Tool Scrapper straight before I use, ideally, you know, a couple of powers. That's now no longer an option. So I'm going to put that Ditto down anyway. I've got 1 Tool Scrapper left. Now, I use it here, which arguably isn't the best place to actually use it, because I'm not right about to use any powers. If he gets a Float Stone next turn, I'm not going to get another Cofagrigus off. So, I can see that I've got an Ultra Ball and a couple of Pokemon. So, I am going to be able to put that Eevee down. And then I'm going to be able to Ultra Ball a Yamask and a Random Receiver and get myself a Flareon. But the big problem here is that Ditto's sitting on the bench. I'm out of Tool Scrapper. I don't run Recycle in this deck anymore. Which means that as soon as he puts a Float Stone, that Ditto just becomes dead weight. So really, I could have done with evolving the Ditto into the Eevee, so that I could have then Flareon'd it the following turn to get a bit more, a few more Flareons ready. But as it is, I can hit him for a whopping 110. Now, really, if this game were going better for me, that 110 would be amazing. Because I could try and get a double Cofagrigus next turn, hopefully one with a Life Dew to KO his Mewtwo. I could then KO his benched Mewtwo, and all of a sudden, he's got 2 prizes left, I've got 2 prizes left and an incredibly superior board position. But I don't have the basics down, I don't have the start that I did have, and that's very, very bad. Now he's played a laser, so that Flareon is going down this turn, and I'm really on the back foot at this point. He's going to go down to 2 prizes, and it's not looking good. I have got a Flareon ready to go, though, which is quite good. So, I'm going to pop a Mewtwo up. I'm going to capture his Mewtwo with the free energy. The reason I do this, at this point, it's very, very risky. But if I knock out the Mewtwo with free energy, he's going to need an energy or a laser in order to KO me with his other Mewtwo. And one thing to note here, I've got an N in hand, and he's got 2 prizes left. So I can N him to 2, hope he whiffs the laser, and he's already played, I forget exactly how many, but he's played a few lasers. If he can whiff the energy and the laser, I can get 2 Mewtwo KOs in a row here, and that will be lovely. Now you see that Life Dew, my deck is getting thin. I need that Life Dew here. I really, really need it in case he can get the return KO next turn. So I play that N, and I'm just crossing my fingers for that Life Dew, or the game's probably over next turn. And luckily for me, the Life Dew comes out. So, I'm going to go ahead and pop the Life Dew on the Mewtwo. The reason is quite simply because now at any point he can KO the Mewtwo for the game. Now he can't. So, I'm going to X-Ball and take 2 prizes. His only other attacker at this point is Mewtwo. Now he can pop down an energy or a laser and kill me, but then I'm going to kill him with the Flareon. I'm obviously then going to be hoping to win him to 1, and it's going to be 2 prizes to 1, and annoyingly I N him to 2 when he hits the Juniper, hence my, the second time I've N'd him and he's hit a Juniper, hence my, if you see down in there in the chat, I'm less than happy about his hitting the Junipers. So, that Floatstone on the Garbador is basically saying my powers are gone for the rest of the game. He hits the energy, he's going to get the KO here, but the important thing is, what he's not going to be able to do is win the game here. That Life Dew is going to save me 1 prize, I'm going to KO his Mewtwo, and if you look at his bench, he's got 2 Trubbish and a Garbador. Now he Ultra Balls for another Garbador. Now I know he plays Cobalion EX in this deck, but as I'm going to kill his Mewtwo next turn, he's not going to get free energy on the Cobalion EX. If he is now out of Mewtwo's, then I'm looking very, very good indeed. So, I pop the EV down, and I have a quick look through my discard pile. I'm checking for DCEs, I believe, here. And I see the second DCE, and I see the third DCE, and I see the fourth DCE. I'm out of DCE. This is happening, which is rather annoying. So, I'm forced to put 1 energy on the Flareon. Now again, I told you at the beginning here of this game that DCE was going to hurt. So, I pop the energy on Flareon, and I just chorus myself to 4. It's all I can do at this stage. It's annoying, but it's the best I've got. And then I'm going to end the turn. He's going to be able to hit me for 80, but he hasn't got many resources left. If he hits an energy or a laser here, he will win the game, which is sad for me. He clearly doesn't have the energy, that's why he catches the Ditto, but I know I've got a small deck and a Juniper in hand. Now I'm going to have an 11 card deck at the beginning of next turn, so that's very, very good. But I've also got a Ditto with 60 damage. This is why I should have evolved that Ditto into an Eevee when I had the chance. Because then I could have evolved that Eevee into a Flareon. No, that actually would have lost me the game. Unless I'd have evolved it further into a Flareon. It would have been a good idea, but I would have had to evolve it into Flareon earlier, because that 60 damage would have just killed the Eevee. So, at this point, I've got the switch, I've got the KO, and he's got no attackers. So I'm thinking at this stage this is pretty good. I'm going down to 2 prizes here, and in 2 turns' time, I'm going to win the game, and it's going to be lovely. So I use Vengeance there for 160. I KO him. He cannot put down another EX, because he ain't one-hitting me with an EX, but I will be one-hitting him. Unless he can get a Mewtwo DCE laser, I suppose. And I've got everything I need to just win the game out from here. I'm feeling pretty gosh darn confident. He goes and puts a DCE on a Trubbish, and he plays a catcher on my Ditto, because Trubbish has an attack which does, I think, 20 damage. And he takes his last prize with a Trubbish. If you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to subscribe.